Okay, so after that section, John does a slide down the top low E string, and basically what John seems to do, and what I kind of do, is I basically am muting all the strings, E, B, G, D, and A strings with my fingers, and just playing the low E, and literally you can slide from any point down past the 12th fret. I normally kind of go from somewhere around the 17th to 18th fret, and he just does that, and then he starts the whole thing again. So that kind of, that incorporated sounds like this. And then he starts the phrase again. And then back to this one. And when you get to this bit, the second time around, you go. So it's this, but so you get to that, and it's the exact same notes. You're going. So that's where are we? G string 14, 13th fret on the D, and then you start the little kind of. It's like a trill, but it's a very slow kind of trill. You go 15th fret on the B, 13th fret B, and then 14th fret on the G. And pick every note. No note is kind of hammered on or kind of like, or just knocked on the fretboard. Pick every note. You can hear John's pick scraping on the string when he does it. And if you want to get really adventurous, you can put this little cool live little diddly-dum in. Which is just high E string between the 13th, 15th, and then finishes up on the 15th fret on the B. Okay, so that's that. So the whole thing so far is this. Okay, so after the... Oh, volume's gone. We're back into kind of the main theme of the solo. But then we do this. Which is awesome, and that was a bit sloppy, but forgive me for that one. This is my favourite variation of this bit, this solo. It's awesome. So we started the same way. But then we flip between the A string on the 12th fret and the D string on the 10th. So it's that. So that's the first section, and then the next section is this. So you start on the 10th fret on the A string, lose my voice, come back voice, I need you. 10th fret on the A string, pull off to the 8th fret on the A string, and then you go up to the 10th fret on the low E. It's really difficult to do with two fingers, but I don't want to kind of mask what I'm doing, so it's a pull off to the 10th to the 8th on the A, finish up on the 10th on the low E, and then we go back to the 8th on the A, and then go to the 10th on the A, slide to the 12th on the A, and then we go down to the D string on the 10th, and then we go back down to the 10th on the A, pull off to the 8th on the A, and then finish up on the 10th on the low E. So again, really slow, the whole thing is this. And it's a gorgeous variation. I'll do it one more time, super slow. And one more time for fun. And I forgot to mention actually, when you go back to the 10th on the A to finish up the phrase, you actually slide down from the 12th to the 10th. Like that. And I say, you know, if I do miss something, hopefully you can kind of see it and correct accordingly, because I do tend to miss things, because I'm a bit stupid. So, that's it so far. So the whole thing so far, kind of, you know, not super speed, but kind of, I'm going to have to use one fingers, is like this. And also, every time you go for that first kind of phrase, you want to kind of slide into quite far if you can, really. I mean, you can slide from the 10th, but John kind of exaggerates that first, if you know what I mean. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, the whole thing so far is this. After that bit, we go back to the main theme, and then we go to variation 2, that kind of thing. But what we do this time is we bend up the 12th fret, the tone, and that just, yeah, that bend is just, that's just John Frusciante, that is. So it's the same kind of thing. So we've got that riff, and then we go from the 10th to the 12th, flip between the 12th and the 10th on the A and D. And we finish that up on there, and then we mimic it an octave higher, so it's here. So we start out on the 14th fret, sorry, on the G, 13th fret on the B, and then we bend up the 15th fret on the B. It's just an octave higher. So that whole section is this. Then we do the slide down again, and then back to the main phrase again, and after that, that's when you stamp on the Ibanez-wah and go balmy with this trill. You bend up the G string on the 12th fret, and then you go down to the 10th fret on the B, and then up to the 13th fret, and then you pull off on the 13th fret on the B. That's what John's doing, but because he's got his DS2 on, let's see if I can get to my pedal board here, it just sounds incredible. It's just those two notes, and I say I hope you can hear that. It's quite hard to get to my pedal board because it's literally right on my feet. But that's the trill, and he's strumming it. So he's hitting only the G and the B, but because he's strumming, it's just really intense, and it's just, you know, you get amazing sound. And then what he does is he reaches on the high E string, kind of keeps his fingers exactly where they are, kind of bars the B and the high E, and he basically plays the 13th fret and the 15th fret, and he's kind of pulling off. For the last part of the solo is very erratic, and it always was live, and he never really did the same thing live it did in the studio. I can imagine the crazy wah-wah bit, after that he was just free roaming, and that's what I would like all of you out there to kind of do, and play with this ending, and just go off on one. Basically, you're using D minor pentatonic, so that scale, you start on your 10th fret on your low E, 13th fret low E, 10th fret A, 12th fret A, 10th fret D, 12th fret D, 10th fret G, 12th fret G, 10th fret B, 13th fret B, 10th fret high E, and you finish up on the 13th fret high E. And the only other note you need is the 15th fret on the high E, and that's what John's doing now. And you can just basically just shred your head off. It's just super fast crazy playing. And just basically, once you've kind of got you need that, and that's achieved by basically having the wah pedal on full tilt. So, you know, you just stand on the wah pedal, turn it on, so it's really harsh, basically. That's how John gets that sound, and he just really emphasises it. And then just kind of, and then you can kind of go, as long as you end on this bit, which is you're bending up the 12th fret on the G, sorry, and then you pull off and release it to the 10th fret on the G, and finish up on the D note on the 12th fret on the D string, you're totally fine. You can do anything there. So it's... Or... you can put a bit of ready-made in. Or whatever. Basically, if you stick to that D minor pentatonic, you cannot go wrong. There is no notes you can kind of go wrong with. So, let me play the whole solo for you now in clean, and then I'll try and play it full tilt. I'll play it really slow and clean, and then hopefully, you know, that's the whole song. And I'm going to show you a couple of little nibbly bits at the end as well that he did during recording. So, let me show you that. Okay, let's try and do this slow. Sounds totally bizarre without full distortion, especially that last bit without the wah-wah. Very strange. So, I don't know if I can do this. Let me see if I can move my pedal board a smidge. And see if I can do it full tilt now. It might sound a bit weird because the camera's really close. So that's the whole Dani California solo. That's the whole song. I hope I've taught it okay. I hope it's something you can learn. Let me talk about another thing quick. A couple of little bits that John would do with recording. That first section where he does the... let's do it without the DS2. Those bits, what John did a lot in the recording process, he actually did this, which is a very Jimi Hendrix thing. So basically you're bending it and then just flicking your select switch from your bridge to your neck, just really fast. And again, it's a very Jimi Hendrix thing to do back. It simulates Jimmy when he would turn his wah pedal off and on really fast. So, yeah, that's it. That's the whole of Dani California. I hope this video has been informative. I hope, you know, it's maybe covered some of the bits that some people weren't sure on. Some bits maybe thought, oh, I've never noticed that before, or something like that. I'm not going to go into any more detail really. I just kind of want to keep it as, you know, as simple and bare bones as the harmonies in just before the end of the solo. It's just, John said that was stuff he figured out in the studio. It wasn't stuff kind of like, you know, and he didn't really do it live until Josh joined and played with him, and it's not necessary really if you're the only guitarist, you don't want to be really doing it. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video. I had to do a bit of a weird edit there. Basically what I'm saying is those harmony bits, you don't really want to be doing them really, you just want to be sticking to the big power chords and so on and so forth. I hope, you know, this has been enlightening. I always try to be, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. Goodbye now. There's a rabbit! Look! Little Len. Goodbye.